3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to Indian Cine-MANIACS. What's going on, Maniacs?
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, welcome back, Debbie.
Hey, we're glad to be back.
Yeah, it's been a
We
while.
missed you, Auntie.
Glad to have you back.
Glad to have you back.
Ralph, I was down in Florida.
And they
walking
froze
down
already.
Thank you.
Walking down the
You had
beach.
Bindi today?
Yeah.
I was walking down the beach, Ralph,
Yes.
and some guy walks up to me and goes, hey, you, 3, 2, 1. I could not believe it. It caught on in
It's huge.
Florida, Ralph.
It's huge.
It's huge.
It's going to be huge everywhere. So, yeah. So
Would
this
you like
is
to
our...
see something huge?
Sean, I'm going to say this one more time.
Yeah.
I don't care about the stupid jokes. I don't care about the puns. I just want you to wait till I finish to say the joke.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and you get some cues. You'll see there'll be a pause in between two words. Jump in then.
This is how
All
the
right.
sausage gets made, folks.
This is it. All right, let me. So this is English Vinglish. This was one of our wheel picks, viewer wheel picks. So we put a bunch. How many viewers, John? Was it 8? I forget the.
I think we had 8 picks in total. Yeah.
Right. So 8 viewer picks, and this was
Yeah.
the first one that spun.
Yes.
And it's called English Vinglish. Who picked
Yes.
this film? Do you know?
Okay, before I tell you the name, I have to apologize to everybody out there because I made a mistake. I deleted the poll or in the thread with all your cases for the film. Remember, I said you have to make the case or the film won't get picked. And you guys made some beautiful pitches for it. I didn't copy those. So I'm going to give you credit, Maneesh, who's a loyal fan and has been a loyal fan for a long time. But he really made a big case for this movie. And I'm glad he did because this movie was really something special, in my opinion.
Do you
now,
remember
Ralph,
any bullet points he might have? Do you remember?
I
anything,
don't.
or-
I don't. I just remember when I read it, I was like, because other people have recommended it, but when I read his reason for watching it, I knew it was going to be a little bit different than some of the stuff we've been watching, and it really kind of piqued my interest. And I have to tell you, after watching this and seeing that actress, Sridevi, who I absolutely fell in love with in this movie, and then I found out she died in 2018 in a bathtub accident. Now I'm like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Whoa.
believe it.
And
because-
the woman who played her sister died a few months later of cancer. They died within the same.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. And
But this movie
Nobody
is
like
so
dies.
it's so basic. This woman in India doesn't speak English, and everyone else does. And frankly, she is disrespected because of it, and not taken seriously because of it. So now she's got to
by
go
her everybody,
fam-
including
by
her
everybody, her
14-year-old
family.
daughter, who was just,
right. And so she's
brutal.
got to go to New York for her sister's daughter's wedding, and she's
Her
got to go
niece.
by herself before her family can come out, and she's
5
terrified.
weeks, 5 weeks ahead of time.
I thought it was 3 weeks. Was it
I thought it
5?
was
I thought
5.
it was 3.
It was
They
5
came-
because he
They
was on
came
a
back
4-week
early. But
class.
it was 5.
Right, that's right. They did come early. So, and it's filmed mostly in New York, and it's her deciding to take charge and learn English before her family comes out there. Because the opening scene in New York, she goes to a coffee shop, and it's a devastating scene the way it's
Brutal.
played. And I got to tell you about this actress, and I know she's famous. She did Telugu movies, she did Hindi movies. She did Tamil movies. So she had a very long career, and this was her first Hindi movie in a long time. But the thing about her is her eyes were just amazingly, first of all, they were beautiful brown. I think they were
They were
described
coffee
in
clouds.
milk.
Coffee clouds.
they were
coffee beans and
coffee in a sea
a
of
cloud
milk.
of milk.
But they
Cloud
were
of milk.
so expressive, and the way she acted with
Right.
just her eyes, the pain that she felt was incredible. And her journey throughout this movie is an amazing journey. And the, she goes to an English class, and it's like Welcome Back, Kotter. It's the sweat hogs trying to learn English, which was very funny.
I was thinking
They-
of Stripes.
Yeah. That's good. To do run,
Right.
run, to do run.
Right.
And then, so, I'm not going to, I'll let someone else get into this a lot more than me, but I got to tell you something. At the end of this movie, the last scene in the movie where she passes the test in a kind of an interesting way. I found myself tearing up in the movie, and I don't usually tear up in movies.
Very dusty in the room,
but I was like, I couldn't believe how much it touched me, and it was just such a powerful scene. And she is just, I'm telling you, the expressions on her face is wonderful. Now, it's not without criticism. I mean, the teacher who was the English speaking teacher, it was like a cartoon cutout character. It was not real at all. I believed a lot more of the students than I believed in that guy. I thought it was just kind of a silly thing. But the cast was really good. But this movie, it lives and dies by her. And she was absolutely wonderful in this movie. And the other thing I will tell you, Amitabh BachChan has a cameo in this movie.
Only in the Hindi version.
It's only in the Hindi version?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. But
what was the movie he was dictating to her?
Source Code.
With
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
But what was funny about it was you saw with the recent and I saw a little bit of this in Sholay, but in the movies we've been watching, this is not the BachChan that we've seen, right?
No.
This was a funny guy. He had that great line, "Why are you in the country? I'm going to help your bad economy." I just love it. And he had a big smile on his face.
He's not on credit.
It was a wonderful scene on the airplane. It was so different from anything we've seen. So I got to tell you something. I absolutely love this movie, and I probably put it in the top 3 of all the movies we've seen. It was a simple story. The music numbers were appropriate. It wasn't like distracting. But it, like I said, it lives and dies by her, and she was just amazing. The whole cast was good, but she was incredible, and it touched me in a way that I was not expecting it to touch me at the end of this movie. So Maneesh.
Yeah, and I got to believe this is Debbie's favorite Indian film. I'm going to take a guess. This is her favorite Indian film. No? I was going to say the exact same thing. This whole movie, you could have just watched her face and got the whole film. She played it beautifully. And I'm not an actor, John, but I could see that she was really, she did something special in this film.
Yeah.
The scene that I particularly loved was the one where she has the PTA meeting with her daughter's teacher.
Yeah.
And when they're talking Hindi to each other and how comfortable she felt and how she lit up. And I just started falling in love with this woman. And then when she goes over to New York and she goes in that first coffee shop and that woman starts doing that thing to her, the
coffee
behind the
Nazi.
counter, the coffee lady, I was devastated. And of course, it led to everything else. That's where she met Laurent and the things that happened. And was it a slightly cliched English class? Yes. But did I care? No, I didn't care. I just, this movie, I'm putting it up there as my top 3 as well. I couldn't get over, and I think it has all to do with the way she played this part. I felt for her so much, and that thing she did, and I can relate to this, where she has the conversation about how your children treat you like crap.
Right.
With everything you do for them, they're the ones who can hurt you the most because they know exactly what to do to get to you. And her daughter was terrible.
Well, so was the husband. The husband was too.
He was he was doing he was
not
typical.
As nasty as the daughter.
No.
I want to say one other thing. I should have said this. This was the directorial debut of Gauri Shinde, and I do want to say that the way they shot New York, and I am not a fan of New York. It's a very scary place to me.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was.
I love New York. What the
beautifully shot.
They nailed.
So I wanted to call
That's
that.
That's the other thing I wanted. I was going to say the same thing, which is this is a New York that. Well, it's a good vision of. It's what somebody who loves New York.
It's a love letter
to
New
New York. We've been showing earlier, in Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother podcast.
No, it's not a '70s New York for sure. But
she'd been dead. We're about 15 minutes in.
She never would have made it. That guy would have. The guy who tapped her on the shoulder and gave her the coffee probably would have dragged her away.
I was waiting for her walking down the street and get mugged, and she couldn't call anybody.
Debbie, you were going to say something. What were you going to say?
Well, I saw this movie and I said, "Wow,
it's a movie.
It's what is this filmmaking or what?" I just there's a film that was done by Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood.
The Bridges of Madison County.
Yeah, and this really was that movie, and it really kind of bothered me, the whole premise of the film, because really, here most Indian women that I've met are physicians, practically in my field, and they're intelligent. It doesn't matter if if you speak two languages or three or four. Like a lot of Indian people come here, they have several languages that they're fluent. But to think that just because you cannot speak English, that you're nothing, the premise of that, or you're unsophisticated, doesn't mean you're stupid and don't get respect. And the film really was disrespectful to her as a female, and how her husband treated her, which parlayed into her children expressing the same negativity towards her because she couldn't speak English.
One child, her daughter.
The other
Debbie,
kid really
son
liked
was
her.
just
And Debbie, isn't that the
adorable.
point
But
of the
Debbie, in
film?
all the movies we've seen, and a lot of movies we've seen, they've talked about that if you're able to speak English, you can do a lot more. It's a certain
Last
part of
film
the cast
show.
system too. So I mean, it's not like it's a new thing that this movie was the only one to take that stance. That's been a thread in a lot of these movies.
Right. I don't deny that, but the way that this is similar, disrespecting a woman because she can't do something, or
But doesn't that make you root for the woman?
Yeah, I mean,
well, the woman, the whole premise is that she, is doing, being nurturing to her family. I mean, the whole time. You don't take that away just because, she was doing all that for her family, cooking these ladus, or what were they called?
Ladus.
Ladus.
Yeah.
Ladu or la don't.
Ladus or ladons.
That's how we should judge this film.
Yeah.
and how about
So
it's 4 ladus
I-
or 6 ladus? We'll do it that way.
No, ladu or la don't.
Debbie, I'm a little confused. Are you?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you're kind of disrespecting her a little bit.
I was
Maybe
kinda mad
you
that
had a
she-
little bit of disrespect for her as well because she hadn't learned English,
No.
and she. Are you
No,
sure?
no, no, no,
because
no.
I'm feeling.
No.
Sean's
that's
right.
not the
This is
issue.
a woman you're rooting for because of everything she was up against at home.
But why couldn't she stay, why does she go to the United States and, away from her family, and has this relationship with this French man?
That's the whole Bridges.
Well,
That's the whole Bridges. That's
Because he was showing her. You guys were losing you a little bit,
That's
Debbie. You guys
the
are.
thing
Your
that
internet is.
But she didn't
that's
really
the thing that really
reciprocate.
upset me.
Yeah, he was having a relationship. She wasn't
Yeah,
having
she
a
wasn't.
relationship.
Hey, you know what? When you're married, like right away, you say, you say, I'm married. I got a
Well,
red
they
dot,
did that whole thing that they do in movies a lot
which
of time.
means
where
you're married,
the two
The
people are
idiot
speaking
plot.
their own language, and neither
Right.
one of them are really. They understand it, but they don't understand it.
Well,
She
you know,
finally
when
says
you're-
she's married.
So
and-
again,
and Indian.
see, Debbie, you're doing it again because you're kind of blaming her for not telling him that she was married.
She could tell, and she was also under, she was being tempted with this French guy too. It wasn't that she
Right.
was, not tempted.
Well, her niece was pushing it a little bit.
But I don't think she was tempted. He was the first one that showed her some kindness.
Yeah, he was nice to her.
So I think that's what it was. I think it was, I think she found an ally. I don't think it was more than that for her. Now, she at one point she even talked about how she was feeling, but the importance of her family outweighed anything that she might have felt for him. But I think it was him way more than her. And she made that pretty clear a couple of times by walking away from him and said, I have children, I have a husband. So I didn't see it that way. Like I said, I think she found someone who treated her nicely, the first other than her family.
Right.
In New
But
York.
just because somebody treats you nicely, that doesn't mean you trash, forget about your whole family.
But I
you
don't.
know?
Oh,
don't
see,
think
now
that's
you're
what
funny.
happened,
You're
though.
Yeah, I don't
funny on
think
this
she
one. This is
forgot
a good,
the whole
this is
family.
good. No.
Wow, that's interesting. That's an
no,
interesting take,
I
Debbie.
think I see. I'm going back to my original assessment, which is I don't think you had respect for this lady, and I think that's
Yeah,
that's
you might be
fueling-
right about that, Ralph. I don't, because she was sort of not truthful in her, when she's coming here and not being strictly faithful to her husband. Yeah, I don't like that.
She was faithful to her husband.
She was physically faithful.
Okay, so
I think that
again,
he
he was approaching her. He was actually stalking her slightly.
It's not his fault. He's French. I mean,
Exactly.
it's like a magnet.
Well, that's what happens.
Pepe Le Pew.
The Empire State Building is that way.
Yeah,
That way.
I liked him. He
Very
was a good
tall
actor. I
and
liked that.
I
thorough.
liked him. He was very good.
I noticed he's been in a few films that I've seen too. But
Right away, when somebody is attracted to you, you guys have been out there, somebody's attracted to you, right? As married men, you're going to say, first thing when you see that spark happening, you say, I'm married, my husband.
I'm going to say not right away. I mean, just to see.
Well,
Debbie, when that happens to me, almost on a daily basis, I always do this, and they seem to go even harder at me.
I don't know. I don't think. I think it's the tan. It's the tan. It's amazing.
It's
Changes
the tan
everything.
talking. I don't know. I don't like any kind.
She's alone. She's alone. She was.
Yeah.
And she's coming into her own. Her family did treat her. Her husband treated her dismissively. The daughter treated her definitely dismissively. That little adorable kid. Listen, that little boy of hers was freaking adorable. That kid.
Yeah, he was.
I love that.
Especially
when he
knocked
knocked over
mom to do
Ledoux.
Michael Jackson.
And she was doing So I mean,
But he knocked over two trays of Ledoux.
Debbie, that's such an interesting take. I'm amazed by that. It's so fascinating.
But it's funny because she's
Women
in
be
this
different
scary
than
place
men.
by herself. She was at this station in her life in India where she was accepting what her station was, right? Till all this disrespect was happening in front of her teacher. She heard the two talking behind her back. Then she's terrified to go to New York. She goes to this gigantic place alone. She's afraid, and she has a tenacity to decide, I'm going to learn English, but I've seen that bus thing and talking to her niece. Then she goes to this place by herself on the trains, complete. So the character had an arc that was like, I am someone. That word entrepreneur, how they played that. I make snacks, but I'm an entrepreneur. I love that arc for her. And again, I think the French guy to her was the person that was nice to her and someone that she knew she could trust and wasn't going to judge her, because they were all going through. And that's how she bonded with the class, because they were all going through the same thing. They were all looking for respect by learning English. So even though she probably, there were scenes where you could tell she was attracted to him, but never, her stance was always, I'm not going to act upon it because that's just not the right thing to do. I would never do that. My family's important to me. So it's weird. It's interesting your take on that, because for me, none of it would have worked if she wasn't in that position in the beginning of the movie. And like Ralph said, you're rooting for her. And that scene when she does that last speech, that's like the gold. That's like the Olympics, the gold medal, everything coming to fruition.
Golf clap.
Yeah, exactly. And it was
that moment. Again, Debbie, you're looking at four guys sitting next to you who fell in love. I'm going to speak for myself. I fell in love with that woman.
Yeah.
Fell in love. It's her eyes. It's her thing. The whole thing she did was just, I was rooting for her the whole time. I wanted her to do well. And her relationship with her little son was just freaking adorable. And the idea that I didn't ever think she was going to cheat on her husband. There was no way. As a matter of fact, she gave him the two lagoons at the end, the lagons, whatever they're called, and that's how
Lagoons.
He had a pair.
He had a pair because she loved him, and
that's right.
And that's what I was going to say. If it wasn't an Indian movie, I would have been a little more unsure of how it was going to end.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like, her husband isn't a monster. It's he's disrespectful and he's rude, but I feel like I'm just sort of getting this backstory while watching the movie. It's her daughter and her husband that's really together pushing her, because her daughter is the worst possible thing that she could be as far as respect, which is now she's a teenager. And so her daughter probably didn't talk to her like that when she was 8. Right. And so now it's like, well, half the family is reminding me constantly that I'm less than in gentle ways. And did you guys watch Downton Abbey?
No.
Yeah.
So there's a character, fantastic show. There's a character named Mrs. Patmore. She runs the kitchen, and she's a gentle, really sweet lady, but she runs the house with an iron hand, and you like her immediately. And she's getting towards the end of her career as a cook, and she meets this guy, and he seems really nice, and he seems to really like her, and you like this character a lot, and you're like, oh, I like them together. This is nice. And then it becomes very clear he loves her, wants to marry her because she's going to cook for him at his house. And it's like she's pushed into this slot, and that's all she is. So, of course, spoilers, that their relationship doesn't work out. But I felt like everyone looked at her as, you're the Ledoux lady, and that's it. And that was both not enough for her, but also I don't know what to do about that. Because I know there was no part of her character that was saying in India, I'm going to leave my husband, I'm going to leave my family. Like, that wasn't an option. And then when she came to America, her blossoming wasn't, I'm going to go and, sleep with some guy. Her blossoming was, I'm going to pursue things for myself. And it was a beautiful movie. It was just so sweet. And I thought it was really touching. And the ending, I teared right up. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, no,
although it's funny what you said about the teacher, especially. Some of these movies, they have American or English actors. And the way that they're directed, their performances are broader. Like Ray Stevenson as the governor in RRR,
right?
Or those the one percenters in Squid Game that are watching it, and like the performances are clearly directed by people who maybe don't speak as much English. And it's interesting because the woman in the coffee shop who was screaming, I was like, is she not it was a great scene, but like, is she not a good actress? Or is she not really kind of getting the direction to make it? Because everything she said was just kind of flat. I can't believe this is happening now.
Right.
And so that was just kind of
talking
an
about the
interesting
woman
thing
behind
to
the
see.
counter.
Yeah. It was just an interesting thing to.
I thought
her reaction.
She was like,
her reaction to the woman was much more honest than
they were
what
going
the woman
way
was
broad
screaming.
on that. They were really trying to put us in her position to. Just
they
really,
did it.
They
did it. It was
it
great.
Worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
By the way, I do want to say something about Ray Stevenson and RRR. I didn't recognize that he was the guy who played Polo in Rome.
Oh yeah. That was one of his big roles.
Because I just loved him in Rome and didn't realize that it was the same guy.
Yeah,
that's my mistake.
He's good, a good actor. So, big loss there. It's that teacher. Well, his accent.
And I'm sorry,
I couldn't tell. Was he
gone? He was so fastic in that scene.
Well,
you guys are coming and going. That's the
British,
problem.
maybe.
You'd think he was a British actor playing American? Is that what you think?
I think so, because his accent was coming and going. It was, he was, but again,
it was just,
he was very broad. He was
cartoon.
Right, here's another
cartoonish.
point.
Yeah.
Here's another point I want to make about this movie, why I didn't like it. I thought it was an anti-USA. I really did. I saw that and I said, yeah.
I actually, you know what, Debbie? I will say this. That coffee shop scene, I did think that.
Girl.
Because I thought it was so over the top rude. Like no one would, I can't believe that anyone would actually ever do anything like that. But that's the only time I felt that way. I thought it was a love letter to the U.S., the way it was shot.
100%.
Yeah. But that one scene,
really?
I did feel that way, Debbie.
Listen, the little scene where she put the subway card in and she'd wave to that guy that was the first guy.
Well, she started to know the cop.
Yeah, that's sweet.
When the scene when she's in.
The only negative person that they showed in the United States was the one woman, the lady in the barista, whatever, the woman taking her order. That was it, and they did that just to set up.
No, she's she had the same.
The customs guy was a little rude too, till BachChan showed up.
That's what I'm saying. The customs guy. It was terrible.
That
it was
is
like
his job.
Oh my God, Debbie! This is the most beautiful New York film I've seen in a long time.
New York hasn't looked that good in a long time.
Taxi driver.
Yeah,
I don't think that the students in the school, when they're learning English, I don't think they gelled. It was like the bunch of scenes together showing them doing goofy things, and I don't think that was true.
Wow, Debbie, I have to say, I am shocked by this. I thought you would have loved this movie.
She really did love. What's it, Dalchanta? Hi.
Okay, Sean, stop defending Debbie. Don't do that.
No,
I respect that. I'm just shocked.
Totally fascinating.
To me, a conservative Indian woman has enough, what she's made of, not to be so wimpish about who she is. No matter what the exterior things come at, you as a woman.
But isn't this
that shouldn't make
It's
you
a cultural
feel like,
thing, though,
isn't
isn't
it also a
Yeah, I don't know
trope?
what you're
no,
basing
no, no,
that
no, no,
on.
no, 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 no,
No, it's not?
Culturally, the Indian women are strong. My experience of
well,
Indian
my
women,
experience in the film industry is it's much more patriarchy, and when they do have strong women in it, it's a big deal in these movies. So I don't know if, I mean, maybe the women that you are dealing with who come to the U.S., probably you're right, but I mean that's the dynamic. The family's the most important thing. I mean, at least I'm only basing this on movies, not what I've seen, like in reality. But
in reality, I see strong Indian women. I mean, that's been my experience.
Well, but that you're saying, your medical profession, that's what you're going to see in their medical profession. You're not going to see a conservative woman whose husband runs the household. Right. She runs the household.
No, I'm telling you, these women are also conservative.
No, but what he's saying is you're not seeing women who are staying at home with other husbands.
You got women that are immigrating to the U.S.
You see that in the USA. No, you see mostly women that are, highly competitive in the field.
Well, again, she's not from the USA. She was visiting the USA. She didn't know English, and of course she's going to be timid. Sean, what was your take on this?
Yeah, I'm dying to hear what Sean thinks.
Yeah, I get it. This is going to be.
And I want to say one thing. The actress was really something.
Okay.
She was very beautiful.
She was beautiful.
All I could think of when she's with her husband is like, how did he get her? Didn't I say that, Debbie?
Yeah.
We say that a lot on this show.
Yeah, I say that about me too.
Hey, how did Debbie get you? I mean, we ask that every day.
All right. Now, that aside, okay.
That aside, it was pretty cliched.
Well, yes, it definitely was cliched.
However, now this is where I'm going to differ from you guys. I like some of the New York footage stuff, but I think like the stuff in the rooms and in the houses, like the living rooms, the bedrooms, the classroom was really flatly lit, like straight for video. I thought it was really okay. I thought the outdoor stuff was really nice.
Right.
But I thought, and I didn't think it was edited that well. I don't know if you had a problem with the editing, but there were a number of times I'm like, why did they cut there? They should have let it go. Usually, to me, the best editing is editing you don't see.
Right.
And there were a number of shots in this film where it was like, why'd they cut there? So.
Yeah, there were some choices. I won't deny that. There were some choices that were odd, but it didn't. So, again, if I'm into the film and I'm into the person I'm watching,
it won't
I don't
bother
care
you as much. Sure.
Right.
No, but I did think she was great as an actress. And do we have any more details on a bathtub incident?
It just says an accidental death in a bathtub.
You can speculate what might have happened, but we don't know.
I don't know.
That Whitney Houston and her daughter went that way.
Right.
Death by bathtub.
Yeah. But that was also
not
alcohol
really
and drug
funny,
related,
but
I think.
It's quirky.
I don't know, maybe a radio fell in the tub.
I mean, this was not one of my top Indian films.
I am surprised by both of you. This is amazing. This is good.
And you know what? Can I add one more thing?
Of course.
The fact that it seems flat to me might be the fact that this is the first movie I watched on the computer screen rather than on television.
Maybe.
So maybe my computer screen had a higher refresh rate.
I found
you mean for the look of it? You mean the actual physical look of it?
I found it real video-y.
The one thing that bothered me also about the film, the focal point should have been the wedding. The focus on the married couple, if that's going to be...
The wedding is the catalyst.
But that's not the main character.
And do everything.
Debbie, she was there for the wedding. The wedding was the catalyst.
And but how she was when she was there was with her sister. They were so separated, The sisters
because the sister was treating her like everybody else did. You just stay home. I'm gonna go out to my job.
She was kinder, but
she was kind.
She wasn't disrespectful.
As long as you're here catering for us and making your what are they called?
Right.
Ladoos. Then we're gonna be good. She was hiding from her sister. She didn't even want her sister to know that she was learning English.
Right.
Except the only one that was on her side.
I know.
in
Was
New
the
York
niece.
was her niece.
Yeah, that's what I was
Well,
gonna
in the
say. I thought it was
classroom.
a rush when she
into
found out it was
herself.
super
She
And the
was
classroom.
okay, here's psycho.
Okay, we lost.
I don't know about that, Debbie. I don't know about that point.
She had no inner strength. You know, I mean, I guess she went on.
Man, you did not
Wait,
like this woman.
Who had no inner strength?
Wow.
Wait,
guess
you're
she's
cutting out,
saying
Debbie. Who
Sridevi.
had no inner strength?
What, John?
Who had no inner strength? You just
What'd you
said
say?
Okay, Debbie. Who had no inner strength? They're gone. Okay, your internet, you guys. I don't know whether you got to turn it off, turn it back on. Your internet is.
Wow, I wonder
There it
if we
is. Now
all
you're
watched the
back.
same movie.
Debbie, who had no inner strength?
Yes. Shashi.
She had no inner strength? Okay.
Why did you read
now,
it that way?
Now I know you're punking us.
Yeah,
You're
there's something
gaslighting
going
us.
on.
That's
here.
what this is.
This is.
There's no way
This is her.
you don't believe she had no inner strength. The whole movie was about her inner strength.
She went to New York City by herself, not knowing a word of English. She was nervous about it. And kind strangers were helping her. That first guy that came on the plane, his cameo was fantastic.
Yeah.
The French
nice.
guy who helped her in the store, it was fantastic. The niece
It was Mehdi Nebon, by the way. I want to give him credit. He was very good.
Who's that?
That's the
French
French
guy?
guy, Laurent.
Laurent. He was in Munich. I read.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He played Hassan Ali Salama, who got
Oh,
assassinated.
there you go.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know, the infidelity, that bothered.
She didn't have any infidelity. You mean
There
mental
isn't any
infidelity?
infidelity. No,
that's
Slight
what
mental infidelity?
No,
You're creating something that wasn't there. That's what I don't understand. She, at no point did you ever, at least I didn't. I never thought, because I don't think that culturally that would ever happen. But I never thought that she was going to cheat with that guy. I think she was attracted.
I think it
to
was
him.
emotional infidelity. It's what it's called.
Well, okay, maybe that's fair. But anytime he got a little aggressive in his feeling towards her,
She shut him down.
She walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Every
passive
time.
aggressive. That's passive
Oh
aggressive.
my
She didn't
God,
say,
you
yo,
hate this
I'm
woman.
married.
Yeah,
She asked for
it
it
that way.
She asked
Debbie
for it.
hates her.
I
Wow,
don't
Debbie,
hate her.
you hate
do hate her.
Sashi.
You do hate her.
No, I don't hate her.
Okay. I know you don't hate anybody. but
friggin'
for
inner
some
strength.
reason, you don't respect this woman. You do not respect her.
Well,
I feel like you're upset at the movie, which is fine. This is not criticizing you, Debbie,
That's
but
part
I
of
feel
the
like you're
show.
upset at the movie for.
I don't care if you guys don't agree with me.
No,
That's
I
fine.
think
that's the
I
point.
think you're upset at the movie because it's not a movie that you wanted. Like if it was the same movie but it was different in the ways you're talking about, then you would like it more. And I mean, the movie is about her as the central character being, given. I don't think when she decided to go to New York, she arrived afraid.
Right.
She didn't know she was going to have these opportunities, and then that's what happened was that her world got opened up, which is,
Right.
I mean, that's why people come to America. Because they want to have opportunities that they don't have. So it's a
Well,
really
here's the
nice
thing.
immigrant
It's
story
gotta be,
too,
you gotta
even
be
though she doesn't
courageous to
immigrate.
do that.
Yeah.
Yes,
A
absolutely.
lot of inner strength.
You just
Well,
nailed it.
I think that the thing is, you got to be courageous, and I think she lacked courage and,
Wow.
and
You're contradicting yourself. You just said
What?
you
You're
have to be
gas.
you
You are totally
punking us.
gaslighting
There's
us right
something
now.
going on.
You are. You're gaslighting
Okay, here's
us.
what happened.
Did you
Okay,
watch
I
Tenet?
got
Is this a
guilty
Tenet
killed.
moment?
Yeah, I was just
Did you
wondering.
even
that.
see the
Okay.
movie?
I saw the movie. However, and I apologize because this movie really did kind of hit home because it had something to do with what we did with our youngest daughter. So she did not know Italian. She was living with us, and Christine is like, oh, the sweetest girl. We said to her, she was we were going out more than her. And we said, we need to, really do something here. Let's send her to Italy. So we have relatives, really close relatives in Italy that would, take care of her. Well, we sent her over there to Italy, to Rome. It was a bad mistake that first day.
She did not adapt well.
She did not. She was like a fish out of water.
How long did she stay there?
Oh, what, 10 days?
Did she
10 days.
She got along
eventually
better.
She learned.
First
but
day. Think about first day of anything you do.
yeah.
Like if I go away to an editing class that's going to be a week, it's the same story. I cry on my way in because I don't want to go, and then I cry on my way out because I had such a great time. I don't want to leave it. You know, that first day is all. Imagine walking in. Imagine me going to India and trying to do
That's
what
I
she
mean.
did in New
Put
York
yourself
City.
in the shoes of
It would never happen. I couldn't do it.
See, I do. I can go to. I have done that. I mean, you have to really break through. You have to break through.
And
that,
Debbie, you don't flirt with any guys at all. You're not a flirter. You don't flirt. You don't wink.
I hear they call you the flirty Uber driver.
Yeah.
I don't let any of that tomfoolery
sneak in.
She just wants to reviews.
I don't let any of that. You know, I say right away, oh, my husband, they asked for my telephone number. I said, oh, Mr. Murphy would not like that.
That's not the way you get tips, Deb. That is not the way you get tips, hon.
Can I tell you this one story?
I know.
Tell us one story, Sean.
Does it relate to the movie at all?
It relates to what it's like to be a man.
All right.
And so I pick up this girl in Baltimore on Baltimore Street. This is a true story.
John, write this time down so we can.
Okay. And she's a very attractive woman wearing jeans, like tight black jeans and a tight
like on her legs?
Jeans were on her legs.
Wow.
So I get her in the car and I'm driving her to West Baltimore. And she goes, hey, I just want to tell you, I'm going to change my clothes back here. She had a bag with her.
Okay.
And I said,
comes those legs again.
I'm going to keep my eyes on the road. And she goes, yeah, but I like to tell a guy before I get naked in his car. And you know what? She really changed. She was wearing this really short, tight dress.
How do you know that? Oh, because you
But
saw her walk out.
Yeah, because I saw her walk out.
All right.
But I was
when I turned on my 4K camera.
And scene.
Wait, Sean, I want to know, did she have inner strength?
I have no idea what that has to do with this film.
She had outer strength.
All I know is this movie.
She had hooters.
I actually was going to, this movie, top 3 for me. I thought this film was fantastic.
Really?
Yes.
I had a visceral reaction to the end of that movie.
I was when I saw the class roll into the wedding, I almost wept then. The French guy had the same jacket my mother put me in when I was in 2nd grade. I had that little
the narrow jacket?
Yeah. I have a picture of me in that kind of jacket.
I remember that.
And then it was brown. When he stood up and he said, "You passed the test," I was a weeping pile of like I was back here.
Yeah,
Look,
but
there wasn't a lot of stuff
been...
in this movie that was surprising.
No,
but that's
doesn't
okay.
matter.
It delivered on
wedding,
what you wanted.
The focus
But
on a
all
wedding
hung
should
on
be
her.
the marriage.
The focus should have been on the
couple,
wedding, though, Debbie. You're right. It should have been
Time
more on
out
the
here.
wedding.
Reality speaks.
Yeah,
here.
they should have.
It should have been about Kevin.
He should have got mugged.
Oh, is that his name? I don't even know.
Yeah, Kevin was the groom. It should have been about Kevin.
I didn't even.
I didn't get to know him well enough. I think he had inner strength, though.
It should have been called Kevin Schmevin.
Kevin Schmevin. I'll tell you the scene where the husband's going to get up and make the speech. He kind of dismisses the wife, and then she grabs the arm and sits him down, and then stands up. That was just, it was like Rocky, because you know it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it was a wonderful speech, and it was like, you know, they're
judgmental.
Just looking at her, the neat.
Yeah, but then didn't her daughter and her husband weren't they humiliated at that point? See, it's not, you don't really, when you're married, when you have a family, you don't humiliate your family. And
they were humiliating her.
What are you talking about?
Hold on a second.
Humiliating.
I think
her speech.
I don't like the daughter.
Well,
the daughter was ashamed of her bad behavior, and she was acting. She honestly,
she should be ashamed, Debbie. That's the whole point. Shame.
Yeah, but that's not the point of a family. Okay, don't shame anybody.
It is the point of a family.
Hey, somebody's disrespectful to you. Okay, somebody's disrespectful to me.
We have an 11-year-old granddaughter.
Let me tell you, I don't take any crap. You know, I'm saying, whoops, went my thing. You just don't disrespect grandma.
Oh, I thought your breast had fallen out.
No.
Don't shame him. Don't shame him.
I'm not going to shame
him. He deserves to be
shamed
shamed for that one.
Okay, look,
he should be shamed for that.
Shame has
Drew, bring some sanity to this, would you please?
Shame has a use, and she didn't stand up to shame them publicly. She stood up and showed that she has learned, and she is more than they thought she was, and they felt. Hang on, and that they felt bad,
right?
Which they should feel bad,
right?
Okay,
so Debbie, you wanted her.
Where they're being disrespectful in India before
I don't think she was being disrespectful. She could have stood up and said
like that.
She
You
could
don't
have stood
talk
up
to
and
me
said,
that
my family's
Hey.
been putting me down and been really awful. And you guys need to know that I've been working really hard and fuck you guys.
Right.
That's not what she did. She stood up and she said, I want to show you who I am and express how I love this couple and the wedding and her family. I don't think if anybody else was at the wedding, they would have maybe seen, she's like, oh no, let me talk. Let me, please sit down. Let me talk. I don't think that it was like a public shaming. I don't think she would have intended that. I don't have a problem that they felt bad. I don't have a problem that they were shamed, and then you can learn from it. Shame is something that can be a good thing.
And it was probably the first time she articulated how they were making her feel.
Right.
Right? That's what that speech was. And maybe they didn't realize what they were doing.
Right.
If that's is that the first time she stood up for herself? She should have been saying something back in India. Hey, you don't talk to me that way. That's
because she was in her
May I
place.
say one
She had a
thing?
place.
Yes.
Oh shit.
That's unbelievable.
That's amazing.
Ralph, I think we should go to the next wheel or the poll.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? Tonight, good.
You guys you're freezing, guys. You cut out the last
can't hear
10
you.
seconds.
We didn't hear what your one thing was. Okay. I'm
Ralph, you know Sean really well. What do you think he was going to say?
Something.
So this chick came in my car with no pants on.
I'm going to say this. I'm totally shocked by Debbie's reaction, and I think Sean is being a little too, he doesn't want to offend Debbie for some reason.
It could be. And it's not, listen, I mean, someone can dislike the film and that's fine.
I don't care about
because that's
that.
what the show is about.
I want to say that although Debbie doesn't seem to have liked this movie,
Oh, really?
obviously it obviously hit some very personal notes with her that may reflect some things that happened in her own life.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense then. Perhaps you had a reaction to it because it hit a little close to home for you.
Some aspects of it, I suspect, hit close to home with
Which
Debbie.
would they be, Sean?
Nothing involving
Okay,
the
listen,
husband.
this isn't Dr. Ruth. We're not going to get into this now, all right?
Dr. Ruth.
Nothing
Dr.
involving
Ruth is
the third
awesome.
husband.
You mean Dr. Phil?
Either one.
No, they're very different things.
Very
Well, no, not with these two. Come on, Dr. Ruth's probably more appropriate based on the stuff they've said on the show.
Well, yeah, that's true. Sean could benefit from some shame in that area.
Oh, nice, Sean. Oh, my God. Oh, our Indian
All right, okay, we've gone off the rails here. So I think it's probably three.
I don't know, Ralph. I didn't hear the
I'm
thing.
not going to say. I'm not going to say.
What are those little things called?
Ledoux.
Ledoux. Okay, let's say.
I'm not going to say
5 Ledoux is the top review. How many Ledoux, John?
I give it 5 Ledoux. I loved it. I loved this movie. Thank you, Maneesh.
I'd give it 4. I enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you,
4?
Maneesh.
I'm going 5 Ledoux, and I want 2 on the side because I loved her that much. So
I want 3 Ledoux with chocolate sauce.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, is that what they do? Do they do that with Ledoux?
That's what Debbie do.
Yeah. All right.
I just don't know. I know if I got those Ledoux, I was going to try a Ledoux, see what they're
Debbie,
all
you
about.
floored me. I thought
with,
this would have been right on your
John,
top.
how many Ledoux?
4 Ledoux.
What? 4 Ledoux? Well, I've
Just
never heard such an
4.
underwhelming 4 out of 5 review
That's
right there.
amazing. You actually gave
4.
that
I'll
4.
talk to you about it later.
Sean and Debbie, let me say, I don't think you did yourself a favor by watching this on a computer, like you said.
Maybe.
You got Canopy, which is a great deep bench of a lot of different stuff. If you have a Fire TV or a Roku or other things for which I'm not sponsored, you can watch it on your television. This movie was really quite beautiful and simple, and it would definitely. I mean, if Ralph wants to watch it in the car on the way to work, I'm not saying that you can't watch it like that, but if you watch it and we're aware that this is less than because I'm watching it on the computer, then don't, because this was a special movie, and if it didn't connect with you, I get that. But if you had that sort of technical barrier, I'm sorry that was part of your experience.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And Canopy, Debbie was disappointed. She thought it was Cannabis.
Why would you say such a thing, Sean?
Yeah, why are you humiliating her in front of us like that?
I was just joking, baby.
Yeah, but people think I'm going to be smoking weed. I don't smoke weed.
No.
Well, you don't flirt with guys. You don't smoke weed.
I don't. I try to keep my marriage, I try to be faithful in all ways.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, do you guys remember Chris isn't here? What do you think he would think?
Yeah, where's Chris?
I'm going to predict Chris probably found this trite.
I think he probably found it very cliche.
And a little long.
Okay.
It's
That's
only
the
212.
shortest Indian
This is
film
only
I've seen.
212.
Me at
I
all.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
too long.
I think we'll ask him on when we do the
Next show.
Yippee-Ki-Yay because I'd be interested because it is cliche.
Was he doing something with a tent somewhere?
Yeah, my
Was
tent
he
blew
doing
off my
something
deck.
with a tent
But you know,
with
I don't
someone
think this
else's
movie was
wife?
cliche in India.
Let's hear
I
about
think it
that,
was
Ralph. What
cliche.
happened?
And for an
What happened,
American
Ralph?
film, it was cliche. I don't think it was
No,
cliche
I mean,
for
no.
Indian film.
Listen, most stuff that happens in Indian films we would find cliche on this end.
Right.
And now I don't care. Now I just bought into this film
Right.
and I was in it from the get-go. That little kid, I don't usually like little kids in films. He was freaking adorable.
Yeah, he was adorable.
And I was
And I
sad to
think
see
Drew
him
talked
get
about
hit
their
in the
relationship was wonderful.
Adorable.
Oh, so beautiful. Her relationship.
Yeah, I like,
with
He was a
I like the
whole
kid. I
lot-
like the
lot
kid
too.
better in Super Deluxe, but that doesn't mean this kid was better.
Oh, the kid was
So.
great in Super Deluxe too. Yeah,
I don't remember
absolutely.
that. Oh, the kid that
The
lived
kid
inside his-
with his mom was trans,
Right.
and he didn't care because his mom. And he
Oh,
loved her,
right,
so.
that kid. That kid was that was a beautiful acting job too. You're right. But I'm shocked, Debbie, and I'm pleased that we can have different opinions like this.
Me too.
I completely disagree with your opinion, which is great.
And that's
fine.
That's fine.
Yep.
No hard
so, yeah.
feelings, guys. No
None.
hard feelings.
Not at all. I
No.
just wish our internet was better because we missed some stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were cutting in and out. All right,
You
so
missed the F word.
No, we
so
don't say
no.
that.
All right, so
I
let me
fucking
show
do.
the list. Now we're going back to the poll of our films that we
That's
picked in
right.
order, right?
Oh, look
Okay,
at
so
this.
there's-
Shots of hay.
Yeah, so I built, so
Ooh.
Bahu
yeah,
2,
I
the
grayed that out
conclusion.
so we know. So the next
Whose
one
movie is that? I think that's Chris's, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's Chris's.
Yeah.
So
Bahubali 2.
Haven't you
Yeah.
guys? Some of you have already seen that, right?
hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
no,
have
no.
not
we
seen
saw
that.
it.
I said
We'll
I wasn't
watch it
going to.
again.
I didn't want to
Yeah,
see
me
this
either.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I
it's
will.
it's fantastic. You guys
It's
will
better than
find
part
out
one.
the answer to the question that completely consumed Indian social media between the year Bahubali beginning came out and this one, which is why Katapa killed Bahubali, and you will finally get to find out.
That's that
It's
film.
just fantastically entertaining movies.
Okay.
So good.
Much better than the
Wait.
first part.
I liked them both a lot. They both have a section at the beginning that I'm kind of like, well, I hope this picks up. It's a little, I don't really love the tone, but when it picks up, it picks up. And there's one character especially who's an incredibly annoying character, and he gets to have a really satisfying arc and be much more than you thought he was going to be. And it's by the people who made RRR, so
Right.
it's gigantic and
All right.
and ridiculous and entertaining and emotional. And I
Yeah,
think,
that's what it's funny because this is I said I didn't want to watch this because of the first part. I just found it too over the top. But listen, I'm all in now, so it doesn't matter.
Hey.
Well, and also if you watch it, you might say I don't care for it, but I get why it was like the biggest movie ever
Yeah,
in
and
India.
they picked it number 2. So I
Yeah,
guess that's,
and so-
Actually, our viewers were shocked we hadn't seen it yet after watching the first part. You haven't
I
watched
know.
it yet?
Some of, I mean, I watched the first one for that episode, and I was like, well, I'm clearly watching the next one right now because I
So
gotta
that'll
know
be
what happens.
that'll be the next episode, and then the episode after that, we'll spin the viewer wheel again.
go back and
Yep.
forth. Very
Yeah.
confusing, but it's working.
but
Someone
it's-
did comment that they liked the wheel that's back. I was very happy that one person said
Yeah.
that. I was thrilled. All right, well there you go. That
Well,
was
we got to
our-
tell them though, Ralph. As always, you got to subscribe, hit the notification button, and as always, smash the like button. It really does matter. Please do that for us.
And track us down on Instagram too.
Track
and
Drew
respect
down
your
on me.
family.
Oh, that's right.
And
Ralph's got all the.
I'm sorry to all the fans who love this movie, and I wasn't.
Don't
crazy about
apologize for how you feel.
Never
about it.
apologize. for your
Debbie, let's be
opinion.
honest.
No matter
You
how
didn't hate
bad
the
it
movie,
is.
you hated the character in the movie.
You
Wrong
hated her with
an
a passion.
apology.
You wanted her to get mugged in New
I
York.
hated that I didn't like it. Oh. Au contraire.
You wanted her to die in the gutter on the way.
You
to
wanted
English.
No,
her
I
to
didn't.
have a horrible death so they
wanted
could
her to-
focus on the wedding.
You wanted her subway train to get hijacked for $1 million.
I wanted her to
Okay,
be
so
stronger than
Drew
that.
has already said his name, Debbie. Well, what was the name of the fiance from the wedding in this film?
Oh, they're frozen again.
Okay, there's that answer.
All right, Ralph,
enough.
I think we should end on a high note.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, buddy. Have a good week. Next
Manish,
week is
thank you. Good pick.
Bahu.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you,
you very
Manish.
much.